When it comes to international diplomacy, even experts consider it as a complex phenomena. It is often said that diplomacy creates distances, but India has shattered this notion. Guided by the principles of 𝐤𝐬 𝐏𝐫𝐞𝐬, India's approach is making a difference not just for itself but also for the global community. A recent example is India's relations with Qatar. In the recent past, we have seen the issue of capital punishment in the alleged espionage case. Such situation often leads to the tensions between the nations, but India and Qatar handled it very smoothly. When we talk about the diplomatic channels which has been used over here, that has proved that the notion that diplomacy is creating distances is not right. Recently, Prime Minister Modi has gone beyond protocol and he has received the Amir of Qatar himself by going to the airport, indicates the importance of the bilateral ties between India and Qatar. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching In-Depth by Drishti IAS. In this video, we will be talking about the India and Qatar relations. We will talk about the diplomacy, trade and the cultural aspects. So let's start our discussion. First, we will be going through the outline over here. We will be starting with the news and then we will go for the key agendas of the visit. The visit by the Amir of Qatar, we will be talking about what is the expectation from this particular visit. Then moving further, overview and the diplomatic ties. Here we will be talking about the overview of the location of the Qatar and diplomatic ties when it has been established and what has been the past trends. Then moving further, we will talk about the trade and the economic ties. Then we will talk about the defense cooperation, and in the end we will be talking about the people to people ties or the cultural ties between the two nations. Okay. After that, in the end there will be a practice question for you which you have to attempt and answer to me in the comment box. So let's start with the news first. So why this particular relation or why these two countries has been in news recently? So Qatar's Amir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani arrived in India for 2 days visit. Herein we have seen that Mr. Modi has gone beyond the protocol and he has gone to receive the Amir himself over there. That signifies that how these two countries are close. Okay. In a special gesture, Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally received him at the airport. The visit aims to strengthen India-Qatar relation in trade, investment, energy and technology. Okay. Now let's move further. Before going ahead, I would like to tell you that Drishti IAS is offering you ISGS foundation course at our new center, that is Noida Sector 15. The admissions are open for the English medium and for Hindi medium. Batches are starting from 21st of February. So you can directly visit the center on this address or you can give us a call at 87501. Now let's move further and start with the first aspect over here, that what are the key agendas of the visit. So here you can see talks will focus on enhancing the economic ties, energy participations or the partnerships, and then strategic cooperation. Okay. Coming to the next part, Qatar plays a significant role in mediating ceasefire negotiation in Gaza. Recently Qatar has been in news because of the issue which was there between the Israel and Gaza, and they have actually talked about the ceasefire and Qatar has played an important role. Okay. So when these circumstances are there, these meetings become even more important because they will be talking about the future of the Middle East as well. Then coming to the next one, acknowledging the Indian diaspora's contribution to Qatar. We will be seeing, when we will be seeing the cultural ties or the people to people connect over here, we will be seeing that how 1 out of 4 people in Qatar is from India. Okay. So herein we will be seeing that what is the importance of Indian diaspora in Qatar. Coming to the next one, the visit aims to deepen bilateral cooperation in multiple sectors like defense and security, which we will be talking about. Now we will be talking about an overview of the location of the Qatar. Now if you see the Persian Gulf over here, here we have the Arabian Peninsula when we talk about. So this is the location of Qatar. Here you will be seeing that there is only one country which it shares its land border with, that is your Saudi Arabia. Okay. So in this whole region there is only one country with which Qatar shares the land boundary, that is Saudi Arabia. Other than that, in the vicinity you will be seeing that there is an island country, that is Bahrain. Okay. So here you can see this particular water body which is actually separating Bahrain and the Qatar, that is your Bahrain Gulf of Bahrain, or you can say Bahrain's Gulf. Okay, so that is there. This area is Persian Gulf, which we have already seen, and in the vicinity you can see UAE is located over here, and then in the Kuwait is also there. Okay, so this area becomes important for you. Now let's move further. Herein we will be talking about some aspects of the bilateral relations over here, or the location of the Qatar. When we talk about the Qatar's location, I have told you that that is a Western Asian country which is there, and it is a small Qatar peninsula, which we have already seen that, like here you will be seeing that there is a kind of a thumb like structure which is there in the Arabian Peninsula. So that is basically your Qatar. So Qatar Peninsula on the northeastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. It shares the sole land border with Saudi Arabia to the south. The Gulf of Bahrain, an inlet of the Persian Gulf, separates Qatar from the Bahrain. Okay, the capital is Doha and home to over 80% of the nation's population. When we talk about the Qatar's population, 80% population is living in the capital itself. It is a high income economy backed by the world's third largest natural gas and the oil reserve. So obviously the economy is dependent on the oil and gas reserves, and they are trying to diversify it. Okay. Now coming to the diplomatic ties over here, India and Qatar shares a strong and evolving partnership since 1973. This is the time when they have actually established the formal diplomatic relations. Okay, coming to the next one, over the decades this relation has flourished across various sectors from diplomacy and defense to trade, culture and the Indian diaspora. In 2023, both the side has marked 50 years of the diplomatic relations. So that is how the relation has started, and we have seen that throughout the time these relations has been friendly in nature. Okay, now let's move further. Now Qatar and India trade and economic ties. Now when we talk about the trade and economic ties, we have seen that Qatar has the third largest oil and gas reserves. Now because of which what happens is that Qatar becomes very important for India's energy security. Okay, when we talk about the oil or the gas, when we talk about the gas specifically, so you will be seeing that the 70% of India's needs are basically fulfilled from the gas which is being imported from Qatar. So we are importing LNG from Qatar. Okay, so let's see, bilateral trade in 2022-23 stood at 18.77 billion US dollars. Okay, and out of which when we talk about India's exports, that was nearly 1.96 billion US dollars. That is very low when we consider the exports from Qatar. Here you will be seeing that the exports from Qatar amounts to 16.8 billion US dollars. Okay, so that is there. So here you can see that Qatar has a trade surplus with India. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the next part, trade balance continues to be heavily in the Qatar's favor, which we had just seen. Now when we talk about the India's exports, here some of the commodities are given, that is we are exporting cereals, copper, iron and steel and spices to Qatar, and we are importing, you can say, LNG, LPG, chemicals, plastics and aluminium from Qatar. Okay, Qatar is the largest supplier of liquefied natural gas, that is LNG, to India, accounting for the 70% of its need for the natural gas from Qatar. Then recent years have seen growing engagement in the trade, technology, energy and the people to people exchanges. So these are basically your economic ties. Beyond that, it is not important for us to go right now. What is important, that what kind of relations we are having. So here you can see the bilateral relation is standing somewhere around at 18.77 billion. In the recent year, it has been seen that there is a drop. Okay, but that is not even, you can not say that it is a very significant drop, but because of the issues which are going on in the Middle East, there was a drop which was there. Okay, anyways, moving further, next is the defense cooperation. Here you will be seeing that the India-Qatar defense cooperation agreement, which was signed in 2008 and that has been extended for another 5 years in 2018. Okay, so till 2023 we have this particular cooperation agreement which is there, under which you can say that there is also provision for the training to the officers coming from Qatar, that is also included over there. So you can say the kind of trust we are having. India regularly participates in the biannual Doha International Maritime Defense Exhibition and the conference, that is DIMDEX. Okay, now if they ask you in the examination what is DIMDEX, you should know that it is a, you can say, exhibition between India, or you can say India is participating in this particular exhibition which is conducted by Qatar. Okay, that is a biannual declaration, you can say exhibition which is being conducted by Qatar. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the next one, both countries have conducted joint naval exercise, that is Zair al-Bahr. Okay, so there has been 2 editions which has been conducted by India and Qatar, that is a joint naval exercise. So this is the defense cooperation or defense ties. Now coming to the next one, cultural and the people to people ties. If you talk about the cultural and the people to people ties, these are basically amounts to your soft power. Now you will be seeing that there are nearly 8,35,000 Indians which are living over here, and if you talk about the population of Qatar, you will be seeing that nearly approximately 25% of the population which is living in the Qatar, that is basically Indians or from the Indian origin. Okay, so that kind of influence India has over there, and they are quite when we talk about the work over there, they are there for the work and the livelihood, and they are living there finely. Okay, other than that, there are tax benefits which are there, so considering that also, that is good for for the Indian who are there for the income generation, etc. Coming to the next part over here, that is cultural and the people to people ties. India's cultural diversity is highly admired by Qatar. In 2019, India-Qatar Year of Culture has been highlighted or has been celebrated in 2019. So that is also highlight of these bonds. Okay. Coming to the next one, with over 8,35,000 Indians residing in Qatar, the Indian community plays a crucial role in the country's workforce and development. So that is why that becomes important, because this is nearly 25% of the Qatar's population which is from the Indian origin. So that is why these two countries are having much better cultural and the people to people ties. Okay. So here we have discussed about the basics of the India and the Qatar's relations, and we will be looking for the what are the outcomes of this visit. So stay tuned with us, and before going ahead, I would like to give you this particular question over here which you have to attempt and answer to me in the comment box. Which country shares a land border with Qatar, United Arab Emirates, that is UAE, Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia? So you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.